Deb, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, doing good. It's what is it? Tuesday? I guess it is a Tuesday here. We're not raining for once or for lately.
Yeah, yeah. It's April Fool's Day too.
It is April Fool's Day. This is not my favorite day of the year anymore, but that's a different story. Um, well, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on here and agreeing to let me interview you and talk to you about all of this funny stuff. I want to take a second to kind of introduce you from my side, and then let you kind of talk a little bit about yourself. But everybody, this is Deb Wesloh. Deb is an amazing woman. She's become a good friend of mine. I believe it was about 6 years ago.
Yes.
Deb showed up at uh, a little workshop that I help run. It's a workshop of a national nonprofit called Soldier Songs and Voices, where we work with soldiers and veterans on writing songs and making music. And Deb showed up, and at that point, I believe she had never written a song,
No.
and
One.
really just applied herself. Um, and she released an album, an EP of 5 songs, I believe, a year ago. And she writes like crazy. It's beautiful. It's awesome. She writes amazing songs that are just really heartfelt and vulnerable and honest. Um, and I'm excited to welcome you here for this interview, Deb. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself real quick?
Okay. Well, I'm Army veteran. I retired from the Army in 2005, and also now currently a GS employee working with the Army, still doing pretty much the same thing I did when I was on active duty. Kind of got into songwriting as kind of a fluke, actually. Um, and it had a lot to do with I was diagnosed in 2016 with not one but two types of cancer, breast cancer and a rare blood cancer called polycythemia vera. So in my quest to find something to do with my, they call it new normal, I decided to get involved with an organization um, that that helped veterans learn how to play guitar. It was called Warrior Cry Music Project. And Tom, as a matter of fact, was the one that came by to show the soldiers and that were at that particular day um, how to write some songs, and invited everybody to the Soldier Songs and Voices meeting. And so I went, and that was when I first met Tom, and then have been able to do lots of songwriting since then. I started um, when we met each month. We still meet every month, which is super cool. And also had an opportunity to go to a retreat that Soldier Songs and Voices sponsored in Halesville, Texas, and that's where wrote my first song. And um, I wanted to write when I went to that retreat. I wanted to write a song about um, moving forward with cancer, because at that point in time I had already done lots of really cool things, including started songwriting. So I was paired up with somebody by the name of um, Mary Bragg, and she helped me write this song. It's called "You Can Go," and it was kind of the start of at a very amazing time writing songs. I was able to write a bunch more during the course of the next few years with the help of the Soldier Songs and Voices. Interestingly enough, when COVID happened, it kind of opened up my musical world, because I got to meet people from all different places, including all the different chapters that are part of Soldier Songs and Voices. And there's Portland, and there's South Carolina has a chapter, and Northwest Arkansas has a chapter. And through that, I was able to meet lots of songwriters, veteran songwriters, and it was really kind of just opened everything up. It was an incredible opportunity to write songs and then have somebody look at them and say, yeah, that works. No, that doesn't work. Maybe you'd be better. It would sound better if you did this. Or, so there was a lot of critiquing, but in a very gentle way. And
Let me back you up just a little
sure,
bit,
sure.
because yeah, you mentioned when we first met, you were working over. I thought it was called the Warrior Transition Unit. That was over
Yes,
at Fort St. Houston. What were you doing there? Tell me again a little bit about that.
sure. That was kind of an interesting how I got involved with that too. I worked in an office and I had walked by one time and I saw one of the individuals had a picture of him performing music. He was on a stage somewhere. And I asked him about it and I said, well, that's kind of what's that all about? And he goes, oh yeah, I'm a performer and I'm part of this organization called Warrior Cry Music Project. And I said, well, that sounds really, you know, interesting. And so I got involved with them. It was really what it was. It was like a music group, just a music. We got around, basically, we sat around and played music. And if somebody knew how to play the guitar, then we jam. If somebody didn't know, I could show them the basic chords and started on that. But that was the premise of it. It was more of like I more or less was a facilitator of a music group. We have multiple guitars that Warrior Cry had provided to the what was called the Warrior Transition Battalion, but now it's called the Soldier Recovery Unit.
Mhm.
So it changed names in the last. But I've been doing that almost 10 years now.
Mhm.
So
And did you say you had never played guitar before, or were you playing guitar before you started
no,
helping out?
I play guitar. I play guitar from, I was probably 12 or 13 when I got my first guitar, and played on and off, through high school and college. And then, I kind of put it on the back burner when I was in the army. I had kids, family, got busy with that life. So I kind of put that on hold for many, many years. I really didn't get started playing guitar till around that same time, 2015. I got back into it. Part of it was my mom was always a big supporter, my biggest fan, and she, when she passed, before she passed, she said, you should do something with your music. So, well, here I am. I would have thought at that time that would have happened. But anyways, that's how I got involved with that organization and still doing stuff with them as well. It's another great veteran supporting organization. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That supports
And no, I
that.
agree that is a great organization, and I remember when I first showed up there to help and kind of bring the soldier songs and voices, and I was just getting going in that and had absolutely no clue and was absolutely horrified. But we ended up having a really good time. I know some of the guys wrote, and that got you coming over into soldier songs and voices.
Yes, yes, and I've been ever since. Yeah, it was kind of funny because that was also the same day that you had the newspaper there, I think. So I walk in there and you got people interviewing and everything like that. So
Oh, the first time you got to the soldier songs and
yeah,
voices was when the
yeah,
news crew came.
when you had the newspaper there, and so I still have that article there somewhere where I was like, they were quoting me, and I was like, this showed up here.
Nice. You put you right in the hot seat.
Yeah, I guess so, right from the start. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you want to tell everybody a little bit about kind of what you do like to do at Soldier Songs and Voices, and what you get out of it.
Well, it's a lot of it's camaraderie. I mean, it's really a great way to meet other veterans or spend time with other veterans. A lot of times, what happens when soldiers or individuals leave the service, it kind of you're used to being with people that are you're familiar with, um, and have the same backgrounds and or at least have that same military background. And a lot of times what happens when soldiers retire or military, I'm just going to say military because there's not just soldiers, army specific, and there's a lots of other uh, folks that hang out there too. But there's kind of that empty void. So this kind of is a nice opportunity to meet others that are in the military or have been in the military and share like experiences. For me, it was kind of therapeutic in the sense that it was something different. It was something I could do. A lot of things I was doing before cancer, I couldn't do anymore. I was a competitive long distance runner prior to that, and I kind of went out the window. So it was just a very therapeutic thing for me to do, to write songs. It doesn't even, I mean, a lot of songs are based on personal experiences and stuff like the song You Can Go, but a lot of them are just plain fun.
Yeah.
And then that's always a lot of times. So that's a lot of it is the both the camaraderie and the therapeutic aspect of it. Both are make
Yeah.
it
Man, I love the story about your first song and explain you mentioned Revelry, and Revelry is a kind of a special retreat that Soldier Songs and Voices does. But can you tell us a little bit about what Revelry is?
reveille.
Reveille, not revelry. You have revelry at Reveille,
Yeah,
but it's
totally.
not called Reveille. Revelry. Yeah.
Yes. So I got the first time I got to go to that was in 2019. And I mean, what an incredible experience. It's at the TR Ranch in near Hallettsville, Texas, which is really basically out in the middle of ranch land, so to speak. Um, uh,
Middle of nowhere.
yeah, middle of nowhere, basically. And what Dustin Welsh, the organizer, had arranged was to have um, basically professional songwriters that were out there showing us the ropes, how to write a song. It was strictly for veterans or people that were in the military, um, and they had that first year. Mary Bragg, of course, who I wrote the song with, Susan Gibson, the amazing Susan Gibson, and let's see who else, Jana Pokop, um,
Was
uh,
Butch Hancock at that
yeah,
first one?
Butch Hancock was there. Um, anyway, so there was probably about 8 or 9 professional musicians that were there, and we had classes during the day, and then we were paired with songwriters. Like I got an opportunity to write with Susan Gibson. She helped me write my second song, which is about my guitar that I had from the beginning of time. And so we had a lot of cool people to work with, and so we would spend a little time writing songs, a little time with classes, and the rest of the time just hanging out with other musicians, other veterans. It was very overwhelming for me, who had never written a song before, never performed a song, had never done any of that. I mean, played the guitar moderately well. I had a little bit of neuropathy from the cancer, from the chemo, but I was never super great at the guitar, anyways. So that was kind of an interesting experience in itself. It was a little overwhelming because not only did we have the professional musicians there, but we had some very, very talented um, musicians that were veterans that were, yeah, I released this album, and I, like, okay, I can play a couple songs on the guitar, but that's about the extent. I've never written a song, so in that sense, it was very overwhelming. But we were teamed with the people who knew what they were doing, and we came up with the song "You Can Go" within probably 45 minutes. We got the idea and we ran with it, and then which I didn't know about when we first signed up for it, but you did a performance at the end of the session, and in front of all these musicians and other veterans and that were there. So that was a little overwhelming also, but fortunately Mary came up there and did the guitar part for me, so I had to do this thing, but not like singing a song you just written a couple days ago and performing it in front of all these incredible songwriters. So that was a little amazing. But
I
after,
mean, that's what's so awesome about it. They
yeah,
get you out of your comfort zone,
yeah, I
get
was
you
definitely
doing
out of my
something.
comfort
Yeah.
zone. My goodness, I was just totally out of my comfort zone, and but it was such a rush that when I finished, I was like, I want to do this. I want to, I want to, do more of this. And the original plan was, had this song, this "You Can Go," this anthem, for lack of a better word, of somebody with cancer, you can go and the original idea was I was going to like be a motivational speaker and use that song and go out to different cancer events and do that. Well, it was a good idea, but then 2020 came and nobody's going anywhere. So my "You Can Go" and kind of um, went back in the behind the. But then what happened also, which was kind of cool, is uh, all these virtual open mics. So not only do we have a lot of our meetings online, or our Soldier Song Voices meeting online, but we also had multiple, and there's still multiple open mics that are virtual. So we got that ability to reach out to lots of different people, um, and write with different people and perform songs to audiences that were, some were professional musicians, some weren't. I got involved in this Open Mic America. Got to it was I um, applies not the word audition for that. I got on that, so that was cool. That's broadcast all it's another, it's a Zoom, but it's for it's sent out to, I think it's on um YouTube. It's on YouTube, so you can go out and look at it and that sort of thing. But yeah, there was some really, really cool opportunities that came out of COVID. I mean, obviously, it was not a good time for a lot of people, but for a musician just starting out, it was really kind of a great opportunity because we were able to get out and and meet people virtually. And I wrote many of my songs were co-writes from either individuals from Soldier Songs and Voices, or some of the instructors like Phoebe Hunt from Soldier Songs and Voices, and then some other people that had nothing to do with Soldier Songs and Voices. I wrote a few songs with a few others that one of those actually made my album, so that was cool.
I remember that time. I keep thinking blessings out of chaos
Yeah,
when
yes,
that went on, because yeah, we it was so neat, because it wasn't neat that we couldn't meet in person, but all of a sudden in our meetings we were getting people from all
yeah,
over the country, veterans that we never would have met otherwise, and I remember how cool that was. There was a lot of really, really neat people. I
yeah,
kind of miss, honestly, that we
yeah,
don't get to
yeah.
see enough anymore.
Mostly, I think only one that's still this the San Marcos group, of course, meets every week still. The Portland group meets virtually still, but I think most of the rest have gone back to in person, which is somewhat unfortunate. But we still have the ties. We still still send emails to somebody like like Lee Height in Northwest Arkansas group. We wrote a couple songs together and do a lot of stuff still. We kind of throw each other's ideas off each other, so there's still that opportunity as well. But yeah, it was definitely a good opportunity for those that are just starting out and to meet other musicians without having to leave your house.
Now, what I still love, I mean, you took so much of this and ran with it. You didn't just go to Soldier Songs and Voices. Like you said, when that was going on, you started doing that open mic America or whatever it is, and started going to other online, other chapter meetings online and all that stuff. And what is it? The student becomes the teacher. I mean, me watching you, I'm like, what? What is she doing? Where did you do that? I want to go do that. I always remember seeing that, and that is just the neatest thing in the world.
Yeah, I've been so fortunate just to be a part of this organization and all the different opportunities, I'm not one to pass up any opportunity.
You
And
know, most people don't like that though, and that it takes courage, number one, and a little bit of motivation to go and do that. So one of the many things I love about you, certainly.
well, thank you.
I wanted to ask you because I do want to go back to talk about your album, what
Mhm.
you're doing now, but you mentioned you've worked with some other cancer survivor organizations also. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. It's kind of funny. I had like two paths. Cancer happened, and then I went the music route, and then I went the writing route, just regular writing route. And I got involved with an organization called Curtain Up Cancer Foundation, and that kind of put me on the writing path, because they have had a workshop, and they have one coming up at the end of the month, um, where they take cancer survivors, or anybody that really has to do with cancer. It doesn't even have to be a survivor. It can be somebody that just um, is a caretaker or a provider, healthcare provider. And they pair you up, the same kind of idea with Soldiers on His Voice. They pair you up with a professional writer. And so I went to that in August of 2018. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So we had an opportunity. There was six of us, I think, and we wrote our story, and then uh, we performed it again. We shared our story. It should have been by the time the Reveille retreat came around. I should be used to that, but we shared our stories, and I I was I don't think I was just online one time, and I saw this thing for bloodcancer.com saying you're looking for stories. And so on a whim, I sent that story that I wrote. It was called You Were Red, and it was talking a lot about how, with having two cancers, the breast cancer was kind of over and done with. All the treatment was there, but the blood cancer, because it's not really a treatable, a curable cancer, you just monitor it. Um, the the even though one was done, so to speak, in remission, for lack of a better word, the it's always going to have this blood cancer. Anyways, I shared the story with them, and they called back and said, "Would you like to um, share your story on this virtual, not virtual, it was a online journal, basically what it was." And so I said, "Sure." And so I wrote, I don't even know, I lost track, somewhere around 40 stories for that in the last, since 2019. So that was cool too.
That is really cool. That is really, really cool.
Just basically sharing my story, trying to make it somewhat upbeat, just because cancer is a hard topic to talk about. Um, and so I did get the chance to um, share my story and share in different ways. I sometimes I talked about the losing the hair. That was a part of it. Sometimes I talked about the story about walking into uh, the Reveille retreat, and that whole experience. That was a story that I used for bloodcancer.com. Sometimes it was more technical, some of the problems or issues with the cancer itself, specifically the blood cancer. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, they have stopped taking stories for the time being, so I haven't been able to do that in the last couple months. But it was, just what a great way to write. To have that ability to write about, and therapeutic in that sense too. Same thing. It was very therapeutic to relive certain elements of my cancer journey, and trying to make it funny or upbeat at the same time. So that was a lot of fun. And then when I got involved with them, I also got involved with Leukemia Lymphoma Society as well. I don't even remember how that even happened. I think I went to one of their conferences, and then I became a volunteer for them as well. And so I do I got to do my motivational speaking, sharing my story a few times for them in different places, different conferences, different um, online and also in person. So that was kind of cool. And then last year, I was the honored hero, which was kind of cool. I got to they had this big old celebration at the Tobin Center, and it was a fundraiser, basically what it was. But that was kind of a fun experience, and to have your face up on this big screen and this big auditorium.
I remember that. That was awesome.
Give a little speech,
Yeah.
um, and then also what else thing I've done uh, with leukemia and lymphoma side. Not only do I share my story, but I also get to play, play music before the conference starts or whatever the event starts. So that's kind of fun too. Play a few songs before the element or before the actual show
So,
starts.
a question: What you said you thought you've written like maybe four deals? Is there anywhere people can go to read that stuff? Is that online or available?
Yes, it's bloodcancer.com. I maybe have to. I don't have the URL handy, but just you just search www.bloodcancer.com,
Okay.
bloodcancer-.com, blood cancer, no, blood-cancer.com.
Okay. And we'll try and if I can figure out how to put it at the bottom of
Yeah,
the video
I'll
or
try to.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll definitely get that because not only do I want to read it, but I bet some other people would want to read that stuff. That is
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really neat.
Um, that
So
was
so
that was
then about what was it, a year ago? Has time gone too fast for us? You released a 5 song EP of all original music.
the six song EP. And yes, I released that in, actually it was the summer of 23. So it's almost been 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Dang, time goes fast.
Time goes really, really fast. Well, I love that though, because you mentioned where was the studio you recorded that in?
We started, Maestro Aurora, who was one of the members of Soldier Songs and Voices, got me hooked up with Studio M, which is right off West Avenue. And Ron Morales is the producer, and we got in there and started. It took about a year and a half, I think, to record all of those songs. But basically, Meister played the instruments, and I sang. So, but yes, they were all
There's a there's a
original
good
songs.
so in in Ron Morales he donated his time to do that, correct?
Oh no, 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 no! We paid for it.
Okay, okay.
I paid
I
for it.
I thought obviously mistaken. I thought he worked with Soldier Songs and Voices and did that, but worth every penny. I mean, I've heard it. I love it. That's
No,
such a good album. You're talking about Maestro. He's another vet that works with us over
yes,
there at Soldier Songs and Voices. He's man, one of the greats, one of the just heart of gold, wonderful
yeah.
person. Old. I know he didn't charge you anything to go do any of that. That boy just does it out of the goodness of his heart.
Yeah, he's a good guy. But yeah, that was kind of funny how that happened too, because I don't even remember where I recorded it. I think it was probably on my phone. I had recorded Broken Battle Buddies, which is a song I wrote, kind of a tribute to Soldier Songs and Voices. And what I had done is taken that audio and put pictures of Soldier Songs and Voices to that. And I don't even remember how he got a hold of it. He said, "Deb, you got to record that." And so that's how that all began. But I just recorded it on my phone, and then I think I had a friend singing background vocals on that. But regardless, it was on my phone, and just put it with the pictures of the virtual stuff um and the in person stuff. Because by that time, I'd had pictures of retreat. I think that may have been I don't know if we even had the next one after COVID, the retreat, the Reveille retreat. in person by the time I'd sent that out. But anyways, I took these pictures that we had from when we were in person, and put it on there. And he's like, "Oh man, we got to make this." So we did eventually record that one. That wasn't on my album, my first album, but it was recorded in I think about this time last year we recorded it because we did release it um, to the Folk Now CD. It was on the Folk Now CD that
The what CD?
there's a organization, well, not organization, it's um, a label, I guess, Hudson Harding Music.
Uh-huh.
And they do songs. It's called Folk Now. They put out a two disc CD every 2 months. There's two months on each CD, and I had submitted that song to them to be released on, I think it was Veterans Day. I'm not sure when it was, honestly, but so yeah, that song was on an album. And then I had taken that same idea and taken a bunch of pictures from now many years later and all the different things, and made it into a YouTube video as well. So that was kind of cool. Just showing all the different things that we had done in that time, in the 6 or 30 years since I've been involved with it. So that was pretty cool.
So you got cancer,
Mhm.
and instead of just rolling over and dying, you started making music, writing songs, writing stories, releasing an album, and now what are you doing?
Well, a lot of that same stuff, getting out performing more than I had done before, obviously, and I never had done much of that at all. Um, I'm trying to even remember the first time I want to say it was something that Jeff Duarte put together. Another one of our Soldier Songs and Voices members. It's called Blue Bonnet Song. It was at Backyard on Broadway. And that was one of the very first times. I was telling them the other day when we did the radio interview that was one of the first times I had ever performed in person. And then I think
Well,
another,
was the first time you performed was when we all played down at the Alamo?
that was probably one of the very first times.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. That was the first time. And then a couple of weeks later, we was at that, at the, I mean, what a place to start.
Yeah, yeah. I
Start somewhere.
remember that. That was a lot of fun.
But
We got to
yeah,
we they did a deal at the Alamo here in San Antonio, yeah, for Veterans Day, and we got all of you guys from Soldier Songs and Voices down there, and got 7 or 8 different people and two
yeah,
bands,
yeah, that
and
was great.
yeah,
Actually, yeah,
that was a lot of fun. We had to be careful because of the volume because they said we could shake the Alamo and cause damage. And I'd never heard that before. I was like, well, I guess we
yeah.
better turn down a little bit because
Well, I don't think there was a big
yeah.
concern with me or anything, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. That must have been in what 2020, was that 2020 or 21? I can't
Oh, I
remember.
would say 20, maybe 22, because it was that well after kind of COVID had all passed. I think 21, the city was still kind of on lockdown, maybe late 2021, because it would have been
Yeah,
November.
I think it was Veterans Day 21. I don't know. But
Okay.
that was, yeah.
Now,
But then we had that Blue Bonnet song shortly after that. We started doing that. So, but those are like the very first chances I had to perform in front of anybody. So other than virtually, of course, but yeah, that was super fun. So yeah, I've been doing a
well,
lot of that. I got involved with a lot of other. Go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, so now you were doing some stuff with Kerrville Folk Festival. Was that just volunteering out there and when you met
Yeah,
John?
yes, yeah. Well, I met quite a few people there actually, but I got involved with the um, Kerrville Folk Fest. I went to the one of their songwriting. courses, which was in 22, I think.
Okay.
And that's where I met Mark Stein.
Yep.
And I invited him, hey, you're a veteran. I'm a veteran. You should come to this. And he's in Austin, and he still comes down to to San Antonio
Yeah. Yeah.
for our meetings, which is super cool. That's how he got involved with that. I met John Lawrence in, I think it was early, or it was a Christmas party for another organization called San Antonio Song Saloon. I went to their Christmas party, and that's where I met John. And same thing. Hey, John, check this out. You should come to that. So he started coming to that, and it must have been early 23. He was, yeah, in early 23. He started coming to Soldier Songs and Voices, and then last year yeah, that was last year. We started co-writing songs together.
Yeah.
So that's been a lot of fun too. Writing lots of songs. We have been able to perform some of those as well. Matter of fact, we even have a gig coming up. It's kind of exciting together. And then we also working on our first album together, and we should have we're working, I think, on our second to last song. So we've already recorded I think 4 songs together. So that's been a lot of fun. Meister, of course, has helped us with that as well as so has Ron Rouse as well. So
Nice,
pretty cool.
nice. Yeah. You guys, you and John, the harmonizing, the writing, John he's such a good songwriter and just a
Yes,
good
he is.
man. The man I
Yeah,
love listening to you guys play together. Y'all's voices just blend really, really
thanks.
wonderfully. And it's like it's just like amazing old folk music that you like it should be. It's we always get me and Cliff always get so excited watching you guys play together.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think we get a lot of comments like that our voices blend pretty well together, and we really neither one of us knows what we're doing as far as harmony is concerned. But we usually are what we usually sing is an octave apart, and that works out really well because I'm higher, and it kind of blends nicely when together. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've really gotten some great experiences from that as well. So it works out well for us.
Man, that's awesome. It is awesome, Deb. It is so cool to see what you've done, and it's neat for me because you have told me how have helped you in your life, and I don't know that I've ever told you how much you've helped me because you are an inspiration to me. Like I said, sometimes I see you out there
Oh,
playing and recording albums and doing all of this. I'm like, man, okay, Tom, you get going, boy. You're slacking over here, and it's just cool. I think you're an inspiration to everybody in Soldier Songs and Voices, and I imagine anybody who meets you and gets to know you, it's amazing stuff. Um, a question, you, you know people go through tough things, obviously, man. Life is tough. And I feel like you are somebody who, like I said, you didn't roll over and die. Um, and that ain't so easy for a lot of people. Is there anything like advice you would give to somebody who's in that spot, man, where they don't know what the heck to do, and they're, maybe where you were back in 2018? Anything that you would want to pass on of your, knowledge, experience, whatever, to somebody like that?
yeah. I mean, it wasn't all. I mean, I was diagnosed in 2016, so 2016, 2017 were pretty rough. I mean, it was a tough time for sure. I guess I realized what it did make me realize is how short life is. And I just wanted to make sure that um, that I lived the life to the fullest. You know, I didn't want to be one of those people that like rolled over and died. I wanted to make sure that um, I wanted to make a difference. I guess that was one of the things that was my goal was this, and that's kind of what I've been able to do, thankfully, through some of these organizations. Um, I think one of the best things to do when you're going through something though is just write down what's going on. You might have had this journal. I started keeping a journal when I was diagnosed with the breast cancer, and it's like 500 pages. And when I read it back, when I go to read certain parts of it, I used a lot of that for for the inspiration for the stories that I wrote for bloodcancer.com. But just to go, my God, how did I ever get through that? There was just a lot of. I'm so glad what I did is kept. I'm so glad I kept a journal for that time frame because, um, it's just you can reflect back. You can just, um, just kind of be grateful to God that I was able to get through it all. There was no reoccurrence at this point in time, knock on wood, of cancer, or the breast cancer anyways. Just I always feel like I'm blessed to be able to be still doing this and doing things now that I love that I never would have thought 10 years ago that I'd be doing all these cool things. And a lot of it was because of cancer, which is kind of strange, but that's very true. I mean, it makes you think about what do you really want to do in life? What's important? And so that's kind of the way I move forward with that. I
Well,
should have answered your question or not.
no, I think that does. I mean, I think that's the truth. I think that's it for anybody. Not just somebody with cancer, maybe just somebody depressed and feeling like they're doing nothing with their life, and it's sometimes I keep talking about you just put one step in front of the other. What is it
Yeah.
you want to do that you ain't never done, and you've done it. I mean, you are proof that it can be done. And I think that's so cool. One of the things I didn't want to miss, where can people find your music, whether it's the album or where can they go hear some of your songs?
Oh, okay. My website is www.deb, D-E-B, Wesloh, Wesloh, music.com. I can maybe put that in the
No, awesome. Do you
YouTube.
have a YouTube page or anything like that?
Well, it's all linked.
Okay.
The Wesloh.com. If you go on there, you can click on the website. I mean, you can click on YouTube, you can click on Facebook, you can click on Instagram, you can click on videos that aren't on YouTube, or you can click on the music. It's also linked to my album and the Bandcamp link to purchase if anyone ever wants. This also has the links to Spotify and all the streaming services that are out there
Yeah.
as well.
All the good stuff, huh? And does it
Uh,
have like links to future shows so people can go see you live if you're
yeah,
playing
yeah, I
around?
have yes, there's uh, what is it called? What do I call it? Upcoming events, I think is
Okay.
the link. Yeah,
Well,
there's
next time we'll have
and
to
then there's
get. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying then there's a whole bunch of pictures. there's probably there's probably 100 pictures on that website. Probably should start paring some of that down, but all the places and things that I've done because I also got to do uh, play at assisted living places and hospitals, which has been really cool also.
Yeah.
Um, so there's
Oh,
lots
yeah,
of
that's
lots of
super
people.
cool. Well, next time we'll have to get you and John on together, and so we can
Oh
hear
yeah,
some of the songs. Maybe we'll do something before the CD release party. We could do
yeah.
something
There
like
you go.
that.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Deb, thank you so much. Real
Sure.
quick, just while we're on here, for any folks that are out there that are looking, Soldier Songs and Voices, it's a national nonprofit. We've got chapters in how many cities? 13, is that right? Or 14?
something like that, 12, 13, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. It's growing. Anybody who's looking can go to soldiersongsandvoices.com. Like I said, I'll try and put all these links to Deb's stuff, Soldier Songs and Voices in here, however we post it. I got to figure all that out, get people smarter than me to do it. But yeah, Deb, thanks so much for coming on. Great
Good thing.
story,
Thank you
great
for the invite.
stuff, great songs, and heck, I'll see you in a week over at
Yep.
Sam's Burger Joint. So
Week from today.
yeah, we'll get some neat stuff going. Maybe without hopefully the next song.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Deb. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Okay.